beginning and end is Rab Shimon. The middle is Rab Yehuda. That's pretty unusual to have that kind of authorship of a Mishnah. So Amar Rav Yehuda. So Rav Yehuda is of the point of the opinion that in Reish of the Sefer Rab Shimon, it's also Rav Yehuda. So one way of learning what our Mishnah is about is Rav Yehuda's way, which is that in Iskufa is Mamish Rishus HaYochid. But Rabba Omar, no. We're talking about an Iskufa which started off as Rishus HaYochid, but the public walks through it. And therefore, for that reason, otherwise the public will step on it, and it's a bizoyon because of that, and that's the structure of the Mishnah. So Abaye will ask on Rabbah, Toich Arba Amois. If the Megillah has not rolled, if it's still within Arba Amois, and you don't have to go more than Arba Amois, so then you can roll it back to your Go Lo Etzlo. Chutz Arba, if it's beyond Arba Amois, Hoiv Chalak Sav. Then you're not allowed to roll it back. You turn it upside down so that the writing is not faced upwards. Now, but if you've just described the Iskufa that it's a Rishus HaYochid, but the public walks on it, so who cares? Mali Tochar Bamis, Mali Chutzlar Bamois. It's going to be a problem because the people are going to walk on it no matter what. So that can't be a proper explanation of our Mishnah. Amar Abaya, a third approach. We're talking about a structure which is 4 by 4, but it's not 10 high. So therefore it's a Carmelis. So you're sitting in a Carmelis, and the Megillah rolls to a Rishus HaRabim, and that's what we're talking about. Rishus HaRabim Moiveres Lefanel. Toch Arba Amois. If the Megillah is still within it's not beyond Arba Amos, and the Inofelu Maisi Le'Loasid Dechiv Chatas, and even if you dropped it completely and you have to carry it from one place to another, it would not be a Chiv Chatas, because going from Rishus HaRabim to a Carmelis is not Chayiv Chatas. So in Sharul Rabbana. So that's when the Chacham allowed you to roll it back to you. Now, if the Megillah traveled more than Arba Amos, Chutz Arba Amos, where? If you have to go after it, you're going to have to carry in Rishus HaRabim more than Dalad Amos, which is a Chiv Daraisa. The Maisile, if it dropped in Asin Lechiv Chatis, then Lo Sharul Rabbana. So that's the way Abaya wants to explain our Mishnah. So of course, Yachi Toch Arba Amos, even if it had not traveled more than Arba Amos, we should be Goizer, Nigzer, Dilma, Mayam, Rishus HaRabim, Rishus HaYochid. You still might carry it via the Carmelis into your house, and you'd be going from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYochid. Now, the Chitem, maybe you'll tell me, Kiva the Mafsekes Carmelis Leslimba, since you will be traveling from a Rishus HaRabim to a Rishus HaYochid, derech a Carmelis, and maybe you're going to say that doesn't create a Chiyuv Chatas. V'ha'amar Rav, it's not so. Ha'maver chayfetz metchilas arba l'sof arba v'rir derech alav chay. Rav holds, let's say you're in the Rishus HaRabim, and you pick something up, and you carry an arba amis, but you carry it above 10 tfachim. Now, above 10 tfachim, it's a makam p'tur, but at the end, you end up 4 amis from you started. Chayiv. So Rav says the din is, we don't care what areas you pass through. If you go from point A to point B, and you travel more than Dalad Amis, you're chayiv no matter what. So it'll be the same thing here. If you go from Rishus HaRabim into Rishus HaYochid, derech a Carmelis, you would still be osir. So So now we get a different explanation of what an iskufa is. The iskufa aruka. It's a long, narrow iskufa where you walk. Since you're going for Shus Harabim, derech that iskufa into your house. It's a very long iskufa. You're going to remember that you're coming from Shus Harabim. You're going to prevent yourself from going inside. So that's one way to learn. We could talk about a regular iskufa, not a long iskufa. So why will you be prevented from going into the Rishus HaYachid? Stam Kisvei HaKodesh Iyunim Ha'ayin Bu Manachlu. You have Kisvei HaKodesh, it's going to draw your attention to the book, and you're going to read it. And therefore, you're not going to go directly from the Rishus HaRabim to the Rishus HaYachid. You're going to sort of delay in the Carmelis enough time so that there's no Akir Vanocha from the Rishus HaRabim to the Rishus HaYachid. But maybe the delay that you're having by investigating the book is not going to happen when you're in the Carmelis, but rather it's going to happen in Rishus HaRabim. And then when you walk from the Rishus HaRabim, you'll go right into the Rishus HaYachid. So the Gemara says, Amani ben Azahi. So Shita ben Azai, the Omar, Mahalech ka'oimedami.
Sorry. Ernie.
Yes. Yes.
Ernie.
Yes.
There's a lot of static. Mario, there's a lot of static coming over, and it's like very hard to understand. I don't know, it's by me or by everybody. I'm not sure.
We are okay. Now
No,
you're down.
I don't have it here.
I hear everybody, but Walter is a little shaky when he talks, right? It's hard to understand Walter.
So maybe it's me. Okay, sorry.
Maybe you have to go into a different room. So Ben Azai holds that Mahalech is ka'oimedami. Mahalech is as if you're standing still. So therefore, when you walk on a Carmelis, according to Ben Azai, it's because every step you take, it's as if you came to a rest. Oh, so therefore, if you traveled from the Rishus HaRabim, derech the Carmelis, into Rishus HaYachid, you didn't go from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid. You went from Rishus HaRabim to a Carmelis, which does not give you a Chiyuv Chatas, because walking is like coming to a standstill. Dil Mizrak Lu Mizrik, but maybe we got to be concerned that you're going to throw the Kisvei HaKodesh from Rishus HaRabim into Rishus HaYachid. Because Ben Azai said that throwing something will give you a chiyuv. However, that's not a problem here because Amar Vachabrav is Sumeres ein mizrak in Kisvei HaKodesh. We don't throw holy writings. Therefore, we don't have to worry that he's going to do that. Then the Mishnah said, Ayakor B'Rosh Agag. You were reading on a roof, and the Megillah rolled into the Rishus HaRabim. So then we went into a discussion. Can you bring it back? Can you not bring it back? Freit Gemara Mishari, who permits? Vatanya. That means we said that if it had reached the ground, you cannot roll it back towards you. You have to turn it over so that the writing is not facing upwards, but facing the wall. That way it's less bizoyon to the Kisvei HaKodesh. So the Gemara brings from a Baraisa that you're not allowed to do that. Koisvin Svarim Tfilim Mezuzis, this soifrim that write Sifrei Torah Tfilim Mezuzis, Lo Yitir Lan Lafach Yal Panel. They're not allowed to turn it writing downwards. Elapoiris Alesa Begit, what you should do is cover it with a cloth, but it's too much of a bizoyon to turn it upside down. So the Gemara says, Eina Chanami Hasam Efshar, Hachaloy Efshar. It means if you have the ability to do a baguette, then do a baguette. But if you don't have a baguette, then you can do it this way. It's more of a disgrace to the Kisvei HaKodesh if you don't turn it. So the Gemara says, "Hoy cholaksa." We said that if it's within 10 tefachim of the ground, you cannot roll it to you. You have to turn it upside down. Frag the Gemara, it's floating in space, right? We're talking about you were on the roof, and the Megillah dropped. You're still holding to one part of it, and it's dangling. So we said if you're within 10 tefachim of the ground, don't roll it back up to you. So the Gemara said, but it's not in the Rosh Hashanah. So why? Because it hasn't come to rest in the Rosh Hashanah. It's above the ground of the Rosh Hashanah. Why should it be a problem to roll it back to you? So on a Rava B'Koisel Meshupa, what's going on here is it's on a slanted wall, and it rolled down the slanted wall to within 10 tefachim of the ground. It has come to rest because it's on this slanted wall, but it's within the tchum of the Rosh Hashanah, and that's why we don't let you roll it back to you, but we have you turn it upside down. So aim a seifa. So let's learn the seifa. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, afilu einam mesulik min haaretz al makom achut. Rabbi Yehuda says, as long as the Megillah is dangling and has not touched the ground, if it's above the ground by even a thread, you can bring it back to you. So, but if you're talking about a koisel meshupa, it's on the ground, v'hanachle. So what's going on here? So the Gemara says, chisur mechsura. There are missing words. V'hachi ktani. This I have to read the Mishnah. Bamed v'armamun b'koisel meshupa. If you're talking about it's on the ground and in a chanami, you don't roll it back to you. You turn it for the letters to face the wall. Aval, the koisel sheina meshupa. If it's not, if it's dangling in the air, then lemala mishloisha golo etzlo. If it's above 3 tvachim, so there's no lavud, so it's nowhere near the Rishus Harabim, you can roll it back to you. Lemata mishloisha, if it's within shloisha, and then it's lavud, it's as if it's on the ground. It's kemunach, says Rashi, of cholaksa. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, that afilu einam mesulik min haaretz, that as long as even it's within 3 tefachim of the ground, you can still roll it. As long as it hasn't touched the ground, you can roll it back to you. It's got to, as long as it comes to rest on something, then the gzeira kicks in, but otherwise it doesn't. So, but Rava has clearly stated that according to Chachamim, that even within 3 of the ground, it has to come to rest on something also. And therefore, Lema Ketanayam L'Shmaitza, is this a machlokas Tanoim between Rav Akiva, who holds the Kluta Kamisha Unchadami versus the Chachamim who don't? So the Gemara says no. Kula Rabbi Yehudi. Again, we're missing some words to make us think that there's some kind of machlokas here that doesn't exist. When do we say we flip it over onto the letters? That's if the Megillah is resting on a slanted wall. But if you are on the roof and we're talking about a straight drop, not it's dangling. Then even if it's within 3 tefachim on the ground, you can roll it back to you. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, my timer. If you have hanoch on something, then there'll be the gzeira. But otherwise, as long as it hasn't come to rest, you can bring it back to yourself. Period. Mishnah. You have a ledge sticking out from a wall underneath a window. It's 10 tvachim high and 4 wide. So in essence, it's its own Rishus Hayachid. Therefore, if you're inside the house, you can stick yourself out of the window and place things from the Rosh Hashanah on top of this ledge, because you're going from your own Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah. Nois alav v'noit limimenu b'Shabbos. Hi ziz the mafik lehecha. Where is this ledge sticking up? Is it overhanging Rosh Hashanah? So why are we allowed to put things from a Rosh Hashanah in our room inside, transfer it to that ledge? Why aren't we goizer that maybe it's going to fall and below it is the Rosh Hashanah? You're going to come and transfer from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah and then or bring it back. So rather, the Gemara says, the mafik Rosh Hashanah. Rather, the ledge outside of your window is overhanging your courtyard, which of course is Rosh Hashanah. So the Gemara says, Pshita. Well, of course. Why would I think that you're not allowed to do that? So Amar Abai Loilam the Mafik Rosh Hashanah. We're talking about a ledge that sticks out from the wall underneath your window, and the ledge is overhanging the Rosh Hashanah. You can't put anything out on that ledge. You could put glassware, klicheres or schuchis, because if they fall, they break, and you're not going to go and go down there and get it. And we don't have to worry about transfer to Sarab Rosh Hashanah. There's no gzeira. You have a ledge outside your window that's overhanging Rosh Hashanah. You can put things that break, dishes, glassware. You can use the whole ledge, even as long as it's above 10 tvachim from the ground. Now, let's say there was a ledge even below it. As long as it's above 10 from the ground, you can use it. But the ledge that's higher, you can only use that the one that's right opposite your window. So what is this ledge? Either less by arba, if it's less than arba, and since we're above 10 tvachim from Rosh Hashanah, that means anything above 10 tvachim from Rosh Hashanah is a malkam ptur. And you wouldn't be able to use it even next to your window. And therefore, it's considered as if the thing is actually in the Rosh Hashanah. The E is for arba, and if it is for the kulakois lishtam, you can use it wherever it is on the wall. So Amar Abaya Tachtoin, the lower ledge, the ispe arba, does have 4. The elyon less per arba, but the chalon mashlimosel arba. But it's like a window sill. It's sort of an extension of the window. So therefore, keneged chalon mishtamish, right opposite the window, you can use. It's considered choyre chalon. It's like the choyre Rosh Hashanah. It's like the cracks of Rosh Hashanah, which is considered Rosh Hashanah. But however, on either side of the window, which is not an extension of the window, the Agisa would be Osir. Mishnah. Made Adam B'Shus HaYachid, a very interesting case. Person's inside his house. He can stick his hand out into the Rosh Hashanah and move things in the Rosh Hashanah because his body is in the Rosh Hashanah. His body is Rosh Hashanah, he can metalta Rosh Hashanah. How can we? And we're not worried that he's going to bring something in from the Rosh Hashanah into his house, and by there transfer from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Somehow we're not goizer, and vice versa. A person could be standing in Rosh Hashanah, metalta Rosh Hashanah, stick his hand into Rosh Hashanah and move things, and we're not worried that he's going to pull something back towards himself. As long as if you don't move something in Rosh Hashanah, Arba Amos. So, for example, if I'm in Rosh Hashanah and I stick my hand out, I can't move something Arba Amos because then I'm transferring within the Rosh Hashanah Arba Amos. That I can't do. Here's a urological halacha. Lo yamod adam b'shus hayachid v'yashtin b'shus harabi. Person shouldn't stand in Rosh Hashanah and urinate outwards towards the Rosh Hashanah, because your bladder is in the Rosh Hashanah, and vice versa. You should not stand in Rosh Hashanah v'yashtin b'shus hayachid and urinate into the v'chein lo yarg. You shouldn't spit either.
But Ernie, the urine and the spit are not part of your body anymore. They're ready to come out, right?
Right? So in a chanami, you're transferring something from the Rosh Hashanah to the Rosh Hashanah. The bladder is in the Rosh Hashanah, and you're transferring it out into the Rosh Hashanah. I've transferred
We're not
something.
talking about the bladder. We're talking about the urine, which is a byproduct,
in a chanami.
right?
In a chanami, the urine is now being delivered from the Rosh Hashanah into the Rosh Hashanah, which I'm not allowed to do.
Ernie, we had this shaila before with a toilet going through, where a toilet that we use even today. I spoke to Moshe in Eretz Yisrael. They said a long time in Eretz Yisrael, people were having shilas with that using the toilet on Shabbos. And also because of
By the way, Walter, we're not hearing you properly. Somehow you're breaking up. So we didn't. You said something about a toilet in Eretz Yisrael, but we didn't hear. You're in a bad internet area.
Ernie, can I go back to the first part of the Mishnah when it says you can put your hand outside and move something that you're in your Shus Yachid and you move something there's Shus Rabim? Then why, if you're in your Shus Rabim and you want to move something less than Dalet Amos, you should be able to do it. You're in the same Rishus, you should be able to push. Let's say you have a ball and you be able to push it less than 4 Amos. You stop.
You do. Elazar, that's why pachas midalad amos. We use that after all the time.
So you can get one from one to the other all the way, as long as you do a pachas midalad.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yesterday we learned by tefillin.
Right.
Now normally there's a gzeira.
Yeah.
We don't do it because we're concerned that you're going to do it more than dalad amos. But midaraisa it's potter.
So why by here? Why aren't you afraid that you're going to bring it in if you can move it?
The Gemara is going to go. So you see clearly that we're not goyzer. We have to understand why not.
Yeah.
No, here we're not goyzer even more. Why aren't we goyzer? If I'm standing with Shus HaYachid, I reach outside and I move something to Shus HaRabim. Why aren't we goyzer? We shouldn't be allowed to do it because I'm going to pull it in from the Shus HaRabim to Shus HaYachid.
So we're not gozer evidently.
We're not goyzer. So we're going to have to. I highlighted that because we're going to have to deal with that. Why aren't we goyzer? The Mishnah clearly shows that we're not goyzer that because it says you're allowed to do it. And here it gave us another halacha that when I urinate from in to out or out to in, I'm not allowed to do that. And the same thing by spitting. If I gather spit in my mouth, I better spit it out quickly because we'll see. So anyways, I can't spit from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, Rishus HaRabim, Rishus HaYachid. It's the same like the urine. And Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Afbishin Nitlash Rucho Bepiv. Once there's saliva gathered in my mouth, I cannot walk Daled Amos Rishus HaRabim. I better spit it out before I walk. Otherwise, it's as if I'm transporting something Daled Amos Rishus HaRabim. He says against our Mishnah. Person cannot stand in Rishus HaYachid and move something in Rishus HaRabim. Omer leish shavakta rabbanon v'avis krav meir. What? You left the sheet of Chachamim of our Mishnah and went to Rav Meir, who's Machmir, and you don't paskin like our Mishnah?
Hold on.